Hi everybody, my name is Jessie and I do perfume reviews in ASMR format. So if you like perfume and if you like ASMR, you are in a good place for our video today. So today I'm doing a collection video. So the collection I'm doing today is all of my perfumes that I believe have a at least somewhat dominant note of iris or Orris, and I will touch on that a little bit more in a second here. But that is a note that you often see in perfumes, and I do have quite a few perfumes in my collection that do have an iris or Orris root note. So I thought it'd be fun to do a collection video. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 bottles here of fragrances with iris, and then I've also got some samples as usual. So I usually include samples in these collection videos. I think I've got like 8 or 9 samples that are fairly dominant in iris too. So, let's see. As you can see, I dressed on theme as always. I've got purple earrings, and then this is a very light purple fleece shirt that I have, which I thought was perfect because a lot of times for me, iris is very kind of warm and cozy, grounded sort of scent. So I thought a fleece was a perfect type of fabric for this video. So I'll just briefly touch on what iris and Orris smells like. So iris is a flower. It's typically purple, but it's also, I've seen white, and I don't know if there are other shades of iris, but typically purple. And I'm not actually sure if the iris flower ever has a scent itself. It might not. I'm not sure, but I know that the iris root, which is called Orris, O-R-R-I-S, definitely does have a scent. So between the two of these, iris, Orris, it's usually like it's a floral scent, but it's not like a bouquet floral scent. So it's much more powdery, earthy, kind of like lower tone, and let's see, I'm looking online. Yeah, earthy. It says earthy, powdery aroma that can be reminiscent of suede or even freshly baked bread. So yeah, it's definitely like a warm, round, earthy, almost like waxy, powdery sort of smell. So yeah, it's something that when I first got into perfumes, I didn't really have any conception of, but as I've gotten more and more into perfumes over the last couple of years, I really can detect it and kind of pick it out in fragrances. I also really didn't like it when I first got into fragrances. Like when I would smell it in a fragrance, I didn't really like it. Sorry, I've got cat hairs on my face, but I do really like it now. So anyway, let's go ahead and there it is. Got the cat hair. Let's go ahead and start with my first bottle that I have in my collection. This is by the brand Glossier, I don't know, I say Glossier. And this one is called You, Y-O-U. I really do like the bottle. It's just got a little G, and then it's got this kind of painted opaque bottle with like a red pink cap. And there's the atomizer. So when I first smelled this fragrance, I really wasn't a fan, but that's because, like I said, a couple of years ago when I first was getting into fragrances, I really didn't go for an iris note. But what this is it's a very simple fragrance. It's kind of like a your skin but better scent. And it's called You because it's really supposed to work with your skin chemistry and kind of smell unique to each person, if that makes sense, because it's just kind of like it's really it's mostly a musky iris scent. So the only notes that I see listed on Fragrantica are iris, ambrette, ambroxan, and pink pepper. I mostly get just iris and musk. I don't really get much of a pink pepper note. So yeah, it's a cozy, musky iris. I've described it as it's like sort of scent where you feel like it's like enveloping you and it's almost giving you like a little hug. It just smells kind of happy, cozy to me. It's subtle, so I feel like this would be good for professional environments, possibly even medical environments if you're like, you know, not supposed to wear perfume, but I feel like maybe you could get away with that. Okay, so that was Glossier You. Next scent here, this one is called, let's see, it's by the brand Armani Prive. So this is their private line. It's very expensive, but I did find this online on Mercari for $100. So you can find it cheaper, but this is called Figuier, and Figuier, sorry if I'm not saying that right, means fig, so Eden fig. And yeah, this fragrance, I don't really hear this talked about a whole lot. I do like it. It's the only fragrance that I have in my collection. I do have at this point like 100 perfumes. I might be decluttering quite a bit because I'm pregnant and then gonna have an infant or infants for a few years, so I might really just be getting rid of quite a lot of my perfumes. But my current collection of like 100 fragrances, this is the only fig fragrance I have, so that's saying something. I do like it. I would say it's a almost kind of baby powdery fig, so it's kind of soft and powdery, but it's a little bit fresh and green and almost like a, I don't want to, like a coastal, like you get almost like a natural breeze. Yeah, it's nice. So let's see some of the notes in here besides iris, which it's actually a, oh yeah, so we've got iris, and I wouldn't say the iris is the most prominent note. I would say the fig is, but the iris definitely lends a powderiness. Then we also have a note of tea and grass, which gives it a kind of more natural green sort of vibe, and kind of like you're smelling not just the fig, but the fig tree out in the open air. And then there's a few other notes like pink pepper, which I do get, and some citrus notes. So yeah, definitely I do like it. Like I said, it's the only fig fragrance that I have, and I find it unique, and it's also pretty light and subtle, so I feel like it's not super attention grabbing and not super strong and loud, which works well for me. So that is Figuier by Armani Prive. Okay, so next fragrance that I have, this is another expensive one, and I promise not all of these are expensive, but this one is. So this is by the brand Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is the brand that does the infamous Baccarat Rouge 540. This fragrance is called Feminine Pluriel. They also have a masculine Pluriel, so sort of the masculine counterpart to this one. I like the bottle. It's got, obviously, as you can see, like a warm pink and rose gold color to it. And this fragrance is aptly named. I think it is a very feminine sort of smell. I would say it's warm and it's floral, but in a very soft, cozy floral kind of way. Not at all heady, no, not like a white florally, not spring bouquet floral, if that makes sense. It's a more toned down, soft, round, cozy floral. Like, you know, this could be great any season, but I feel like it could go in the winter and fall as well as the spring. It's also a pretty like powdery, kind of musky. It's got like a powdery muskiness to it. So this does have an iris note, which I would say is fairly prominent. Maybe even more prominent is a rose note. So rose and iris, which I really like rose and iris together. We also have a violet note. There are some white florals in here, but I would say they are not prominent, not as prominent to me. And then we have patchouli and vetiver, which do give a nice, subtle, more grounded base. So I really like this. I don't hear people talk about this very often, but I find it to be just very pleasing, very feminine, subtle, clean. Could also be a good environment for a work, like an office environment, if you don't want to be getting too much attention from your scent. Okay, so that's Maison Francis Kurkdjian Feminine Pluriel. Alright, so next, I almost forgot to put this in this collection, but I did remember, and I'm glad I did. This is by the brand Elizabeth Arden, and this is called White Tea, and this is the eau de toilette version that I have. You can tell because it fades to clear in the bottom. There is an eau de parfum version of this, which is all the way white, opaque down to the bottom. I think that only came out like a year or two ago. There's also a bunch of flankers to this. Like there's white tea, wild rose, white tea, vanilla orchid. Like there's probably, yeah, a lot. Probably more than I could count on my fingers to this because it's a very popular fragrance. I think it's been out for a handful of years. Looks like only 2017. So maybe not that many flankers. But anyway, this fragrance, as you can see, it's called White Tea. So it does have a prominent white tea note, which gives it an fresh, natural, slightly green, aromatic sort of note, or sort of accord. And I also have the body cream of this, and my husband just gave me a massage using the body cream 2 nights ago. It was so nice. It smelled so good. So I would say most prominently I get the white tea note. Then there's also sea notes, so it does almost have a bit of an ocean breeze feel. It has a white iris note. And I would say it does come through, but it's not super prominent. Gives it a grounded, earthy powderiness. And then there's just a host of other notes that kind of make sense for what I'm smelling here. We have a fern note, so kind of another green, earthy, natural scent. We've got a mate note. I believe mate is like a tea, like a green tea, earthy type smell. And then we have, it's called Exotic Woods, but it's not super woody. And a sage note. So yeah, I would say overall this is a very fresh kind of spa-like green, or not green tea, white tea, somewhat oceanic scent, and the iris gives it a nice soft powderiness. Okay, so next, this fragrance. Okay, this is the last one that is very expensive. So this one is called Musc Eternel, and it's by the brand Mizensir, which is a niche brand. Really high quality perfumes, very expensive. I think this is the most I've ever spent on a fragrance. I'm not sure if it's technically more or less than this one, but I got this one used on Mercari, so I bought this actually off the site. Very expensive, but this one is very It's very feminine smelling. It smells kind of like baby powder, like a very luxurious, feminine, sweet, rich baby powder. Musky, floral musky, a little bit vanillic. The iris is not the most prominent note to me, but it does come through. I would say I get a little bit more of like a vanilla sweetness coming through first, and then with some florals as well. Looks like our florals are rose, hawthorn, and jasmine. And then, yeah, the iris kind of gives it a powdery groundedness. And we've also got a white musk note. So, this is definitely not going to be for everybody. This is a sort of scent where if I smelled this at the beginning of my perfume journey, I would have been like, ugh, that is absolutely gross. Look at that. It's got an M for Mizensir. I really like that. So yeah, if I smelled this at the beginning of my perfume journey, I would have been like, that smells gross. It smells vintage. You know, I hate to say it, but like old lady. It smells old lady. Smells like a powder puff. And I don't know what happened, but my taste has just changed in fragrances. And so now I really appreciate a fragrance like this. This smells very happy and cozy to me. I feel like you could wear this all times of the year, but more so I would say fall, winter, spring. I feel like summer it would be a little bit too nauseating. So yeah, that is Musc Eternel by the brand Mizensir. Alright, so next fragrance that I have here, this is by the brand Valentino, and this is called Donna. So it's just called Valentino Donna, which I believe means woman. Donna, I believe, means woman in Italian. I like the bottle. It's got gold, and then the liquid is almost like a pinky purple, kind of like a mauve, which is a good color for this because what I mostly get from this is like iris and rose. Yeah, so this is an iris and rose dominant floral fragrance. So it's one of those floral fragrances that, again, is not a heady bouquet type of floral. It's a much more grounded, rounded out powdery floral. The iris is also played up by a note of leather, which gives it even more depth and kind of earthiness, muskiness, groundedness. There's also a prominent vanilla note and as well a praline note, which makes this fragrance sweet. It's not like super sweet, but it's a sweet fragrance, but in a very kind of grounded way. There's also a patchouli note, which I get just a touch of. I do really like patchouli. Kind of gives it an earthy, slightly spiciness. So that's mainly what I get from this fragrance, Valentino Donna. And this is one that I don't really hear talked about too often. I hear the Born in Roma mentioned much more often. This one's a little bit less commonly talked about, but I do really like it. This one's a little bit stronger, I would say, like a little bit sexier, like than some of these other ones. I feel like it's a little bit more, you know, gives you more of a presence when you wear it. Okay, moving on. This next one that I have is actually a travel size. It's only 10 milliliters. This is Chanel 1957. Oh gosh, I lied. This one's also really expensive. It's just that the travel size obviously is not as expensive because it's little. It seems like a lot of my Irish fragrances are very expensive. Maybe Irish is just kind of a luxurious note because I have a lot of affordable perfumes, so I don't know. Anyway, 1957 by Chanel. And this one is definitely, I would say more of a skin scent. It's powdery, musky, but it has a somewhat prominent aldehyde note. Aldehydes kind of give a like a clean, almost soapy, fresh, airy vibe, and you definitely get that coming through in here. So if you didn't have the aldehyde note, it would definitely be more just kind of soft, grounded, a little earthier, but the aldehyde note really lifts it up and brings it more into the air, if that makes any sense. I always think about when I smell something, I think about like pitch, if that makes sense, like, or something, you know, grounded versus like not grounded. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this is like, it's got a higher pitch because of the aldehyde notes, but mostly what I get is muskiness coming from a few things. There's a white musk note. There's also obviously an Orris note, which is just Irish root. And then there's a cashmere note as well. So yeah, it's really nice. It's very clean. It's subtle. It just would make you smell very clean, classy. I feel like this would be a good office scent. It's got some other notes as well, like coriander, pink pepper, bergamot, cedar. But yeah, subtle, clean, powdery skin scent with the addition of aldehydes, which definitely makes it fresh and a little bit lightened up and squeaky clean. Okay, so that's 1957 by Chanel. Okay, and the last fragrance, and this one's technically not in my collection. It's in my box of perfumes that I'm selling on my Mercari, but I thought I would pull it out because it is a very irisy scent. So this is by the brand Vera Wang, and it's called Embrace Periwinkle and Iris. So I think the Embrace line has quite a few different varieties to it, and one of them is Periwinkle and Iris. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a blue liquid, and the bottle is a little bit worse for wear. As you can see, the top is, but yeah, the top is coming off. But anyway, this is like a sweet purple floral. So it has, I think, 3 purple florals. It's got iris, violet, and periwinkle, which periwinkle's a purple floral. I have smelled periwinkle. We grew up with them on my farm, and I've never smelled anything, so it might be like a fantasy note, you know, but it definitely's got like a powderiness to it from all of those purple florals, and then it's got quite a few sweet notes, including whipped cream, sugar, and vanilla. So I don't really love this one. That's why I'm reselling it. It just doesn't come together in a way that I quite love, but really what it is like a kind of a sweet, slightly gourmand purple floral. So yeah, definitely unique, not your typical perfume. That's Vera Wang, Embrace, Periwinkle, and Iris. Okay, so those were all of the bottles that I have to show you. So now we'll be moving into part 2, which is the samples, the fragrance samples that I have that I think are fairly prominent in Iris. So this one is a La Vie est Belle flanker. This one is called La Vie est Belle L'Eau de Parfum. And on Fragrantica, it comes up as L'Eau de Parfum Intense. So it doesn't say intense on here, but I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the correct, Fragrantica listing. But anyway, the La Vie est Belle line is a very popular line from the brand Lancome. And it's, if I recall, it's kind of a gourmand with like some orange and patchouli prominent notes. I think that's what I recall. But yeah, gourmand has like a praline note. So anyway, this one is also fairly gourmand, I would say. But it has a prominent iris note as well as, I think, some sort of nutty note. Let's see. Hazelnut. Okay, so this has hazelnut, whipped cream, iris, pear, and quite a few other notes. But okay, you know what? I'm gonna need to start spraying for these samples because I just cannot smell them from the vials. So this one, oh yeah, that's very, it definitely has a bit of oranginess coming through that I smell in the original La Vie Belle. But it's sweet, it's a little bit nutty. It's definitely got a prominent iris note coming through. So a little bit powdery, waxy, earthy. It's very decadent. It's a very decadent, more so winter, sweet winter sort of scent. So yeah, I feel like you could wear this to a Christmas party or something like that. So that is La Vie est Belle, L'Eau de Parfum. Okay, next. This is by the brand Louis Vuitton, am I right? Oh my gosh. Christian Louboutin. And this is called Loubirouge. This fragrance is very expensive, FYI, but you can get samples for less expensive. This only has a few notes in it. I know it has an iris note. Yeah, 3 notes according to Fragrantica. Top note cardamom, middle note iris, base note vanilla. So sexy, sophisticated, grounded, warm, touch spicy, touch kind of earthy, sweet. I'm not going to spray this. I'm fairly familiar with what it smells like. But yeah, definitely a sexy, feminine, but not in like a super duper sweet or floral type of way. Just very like, kind of like grounded, a little bit spicy, sweet, feminine. And yeah, definitely prominent iris note. So that is Loubirouge. Loubirouge by Christian Louboutin. Okay, next. This is by the brand Xerjoff. And this is called Apollonia, and I do not know what Apollonia means. Makes me think of Appaloosa, like the breed of horse. But anyway, this one I would say, and I will give it a spray because it's been a little bit, but I remember this one being pretty subtle. Definitely more of a skin scent sort of vibe. Musky, powdery sort of skin scent, subtle. Yeah, it's really nice. It's light. It's lightly sweet. This is really, really pretty. It's very simple. It has 3 notes. It has a note of white flowers, just generic white flowers, note of orris, and a note of white musk. So what I like about it is it's very clean smelling. It's subtle, great office, minimal type of scent. But the white flowers note makes it a little bit more uplifting and slightly sweet and bright, if that makes sense. I think if it didn't have the white floral note, it would be just even more toned down. So the white floral note just gives it a little bit more brightness. So that is Apollonia. I feel like if this fragrance was not so expensive, I would definitely get a bottle, but it is another one of those expensive fragrances that's kind of hard to justify unless you're totally obsessed with it. So that is Apollonia by Xerjoff. Okay, next, this is a sample of Tiffany Co, and this is the intense version of Tiffany Co. I believe I've smelled just the original Tiffany Co, and then I think that one also has a fairly prominent iris note, but the intense is even more prominent iris, I would say. So I'm definitely gonna give this one a spray just to remember what it smells like. Okay, so this, it's like a clean, powdery, yeah, it's a clean, powdery, a little bit ambery sort of smell. Like, it's got a bit of a clean, yeah, like I said, a clean vibe to it, but also kind of grounded and a little bit, yeah, ambery, vanilla-y. So you definitely get an iris note coming through, powdery, a little bit earthy, mixing in well with the, looks like we've got notes of amber, benzoin, vanilla, and carrot. A lot of times you see iris paired with carrot because they both kind of have like this kind of rooty quality. And then you've also got musk, cashmere, pear, jasmine. So yeah, I would say like a clean, musky, ambery note with some like floral nuances. Note, ambery, what am I trying to say? Smell. Yeah, so I like that. I do like that. That is by the brand Tiffany Co, and that's their intense version. Okay, then I've got two samples by the brand Sylvaine Delacourte. So that's how you spell it, Sylvaine Delacourte. I think this is a newer niche brand. The bottles are beautiful. I wish I had a full bottle to show you. Bottles are really beautiful, kind of almost like bohemian looking labels. This one, which is like getting low, pretty low. This one's called Florentina, and this one I remember being very powdery and sweet, and I think it's got an almond note. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's extremely powdery sweet. You also get some aromatic type notes coming through, spices coming through, like cloves, lavender. But anyway, this has a strong iris note as well as heliotrope and violet, so powdery purple florals, and then you've got an almond note. Almost kind of smells like a bitter almond to me, but maybe that's just some of the other aromatic notes and spices coming through. You've got a vanilla note, which is definitely there. So this is so nice. I wouldn't have liked this a couple years ago at all, but I do really like it now. Oh, yeah, it's really pretty. It smells like you're baking almond cookies, and then there's like a breeze coming through the window, and it's carrying kind of like natural, some sort of, herbs or grass or something from the outside. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, really nice. Very powdery. So that is Florentina by Sylvaine Delacourte. The other Sylvaine Delacourte fragrance that I have is called Dovana, and as you can see, it's almost empty. But I'm gonna give it a spray anyway. Just a touch. Perfect. So this one I know is more subtle, more sheer. Yeah, it's very sheer, like I can hardly smell it. But it's powdery, it's got a little bit of like floralness to it. Yeah, I can hardly smell this. But it's mostly musk, like a very sheer kind of, yeah, it says white musk. There's an iris note, heliotrope, amberette, vanilla, but it's really like not sweet. It's very sheer, almost like watery, airy. Very clean, subtle. Yeah, so that is Dovana, again by Sylvaine Delacourte. Okay. Then, moving on, this is by the brand Maison Crivelli. And it's called Iris Malikhân. This one is definitely the strongest iris I have. It's very, I'm not going to spray it because I know what it smells like. But it is very earthy, vanilla, Orris-y, just very deep. And if I recall, lasts a very long time on your skin and clothes. So we've got prominent notes of orris root, vanilla, leather, and then quite a few other kind of either herbal-y or spicy notes like galbanum, cypress, mastic, which is like a resin, I believe, cinnamon. So yeah, very unisex, I would say. Just like a heavy, sexy, sweet, but kind of almost like dirty, earthy, leathery type vibe. Not for everybody, for sure. And if I were going to wear this, I could not do more than one spray because it's very strong, heavy, bold. So yeah. Okay. Lastly, and I do want to spray this one because I really don't remember what it smells like. This is by the brand Diptique, and this is called Fleur de Peau, which means like skin flower, I think. Yeah, flower of the skin, something like that. So I know this is more of a skin scent, like a musky skin scent, but let's actually see what it smells like. It's very subtle. It's got a touch of spiciness coming through in the beginning. It's kind of similar, a little bit similar to 1957, especially with some of the notes that I'm seeing here. So it's got a musk note, it's got iris, and it's got aldehydes. I'm definitely getting a little bit of the pink pepper note coming through, so it's got just a touch of like sparkly spiciness. It's got, interestingly enough, a carrot note, and yeah, quite a few other notes. So it's kind of it's like a natural, subtle skin scent with a little bit of brightness from the aldehydes, pink pepper, bergamot. But then very nicely grounded from the iris, the musk, the carrot, and it's got a leather note, but it's not at all like heavy leather at all. So that is nice. It's subtle. It's one of those ones that maybe I would consider buying again if it weren't so expensive. I would say these three are all somewhat similar to my nose. The Xerjoff, the Chanel, and the Fleur de Peau, but this one's the most simple, I would say. These ones have definitely got more notes and kind of just more nuances to them. Okay, so that is all that I have to show you today. I definitely had some other samples that had iris in them, but I didn't want to go. Oops, sorry. I didn't want to go crazy. So yeah, that is my collection video of my fragrances with iris, and most of these I would say were somewhat prominent iris, if not very prominent iris. So if you smell quite a few, if you are able to smell a few of these, you'll really start to get, I think, a sense of what iris or orris root smells like. Okay, everybody, I hope you are all doing well. Sending you peace, love, beauty, and harmony. And I'll catch you all again in another video. Okay, bye.